Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR. Welcome to another episode of the People's Questions, where I answer all the questions that you all have sent me over the past week. Decided to try something a little bit new at the bottom. As you can see, hopefully that draws some more people towards my other social media outlets, but who knows what will happen. And I gotta say, we got a pretty solid episode. I don't think it'll be all that long. I think we only have one newbie. And before I get into you guys' questions, I just want to give a quick little shout out to a regular viewer of mine going by the name of Mr. Abel Z, who spent a lot of time answering a lot of the questions in the previous episode. So I think that's a major positive, because it just lets me know that you guys are starting to get to know me a little bit better, and I think that's always very, very helpful. So starting off real simple with the first question comes from Santica Scarpino. You want to know, who do I prefer, Cloud or Squall? Now, I know that there's this cult group of fans out there that think that I'm this big Cloud fanboy, and while I am, I'm also a massive Squall fanboy. In terms of where these two place, in terms of my all-time favorite Final Fantasy characters, these two are dead even in terms of the number 2 spot. There's a lot of things about Cloud that I think are better than Squall, and there's a lot of things about Squall that I think are better than Cloud. If I was really building the ultimate Final Fantasy team, the character I want leading my team, it's not Cloud, it's Squall. So, who do I prefer? I don't prefer either of them. They are completely dead even. I want to make that very, very clear. So please, for any of you big Squall fans out there, I'm not a Squall hater. I love him just as much as anyone, but there's just a couple characters that I think he probably just couldn't beat. But he's still a fantastic and very, very awesome character. Next question comes from Cassie J. Williams, and you want to know, do I think the criticism of Yuna's character design in Final Fantasy X-2 was legit or overreaction from the critics? You know, where did you start hearing this criticism? This is the first I'm ever hearing of this. I was never under the impression that anyone had any problems with Yuna's look. The way I view it, it was a different look. We're dealing with a much older Yuna. She wants to venture out on her own, and so why do we care how she dresses? Sure, she went from kind of wearing, you know, a nice dress, but that was kind of appropriate for a summoner. You're not going to see a summoner dressed like that, and she went from being that to being a dress, you know, to being a spear hunter. So who cares what she looks? I mean, if anything, I would say that Riku probably had the most, you know, let's just say revealing look out of all three of them, but heck, that's just my opinion. But no, I don't, if there was any criticisms towards Yuna's look, I don't think they were justified one bit. Next question comes from Alucerna. You want to know, what are my thoughts on Ryu from Street Fighter being a Power Ranger? The problem is, I think Ryu is too much of a loner to be a Power Ranger. And he's too old. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, there aren't any old Power Rangers, but I'm just saying that to be a Power Ranger, you kind of need to be able to work very good within a group. And that's just the one thing that Ryu doesn't do. And Ryu doesn't even have a house. Ryu just walks from one place to another, just taking on random fights. And I just don't think that's a very good, positive, you know, personality trait to be a Power Ranger. But, you know, I don't think he wants to. If anything, I think he's more powerful than any Power Ranger, in my opinion. Or most Power Rangers, I would say. I think there's a couple that could kick his ass. Next question comes from the All-Star Gamer Punk. You want to know, if I had a chance to create my own PlayStation exclusive, what would it be about, and who are the characters and their personalities? It would be a JRPG set in a steampunk setting, and I think that the personalities for a couple of characters would be pretty obvious. I would think I would have like I would have like a female that was a librarian who just wants to go on an adventure. I would have like this massive tough guy who's a big softie. I would call him like Bear or something like that. I think what you need, I think I think there's too many characters to go, because I would probably try to limit it to maybe 6 or 7 characters at the most. But I would make it seem as though there was a part in each section of the story in which it focuses on one character and it reveals why that character is important to the group. And if you were to take them out, then, you know, the entire dynamic of the team would very much change. Something kind of similar to what they had in Final Fantasy X. With that cast of characters, which I think is probably one of the greatest casts of Final Fantasy characters ever. Next question comes from Silver Lionheart 2099. You want to know, have I seen the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and what are my thoughts on Toriyama rebooting Broly? Well, all I know is that Broly's about to get a massive power boost, and all I ask that in terms of Broly is that they give him a much more interesting backstory than he was a baby and he was annoyed by Goku crying next to him. That's all I got. I mean, it'd be interesting if they're going to give him any lines or if he's just going to be screaming Kakarot all day. But, you know, from what we've seen, he's going to be fighting other people. I hope they put up good fights. I really hope we get an official... I really hope they give us an official premiere of Gogeta. There was so many opportunities for them to bring out Gogeta in a Tournament of Power. I thought it was just a wasted opportunity, but I would really hope that they would bring him into this film. But just give us a much more interesting backstory and give him more of a personality than him just screaming Kakarot over and over again. Next question comes from I believe the only newbie of the episode, going by the name of Austin Curse. Cool name. You want to know what is my favorite or least favorite DBXs. So basically, Death Battle Extreme. I'm trying to think. There was one that really stood out to me. One that was my favorite. I think my favorite... Damn, that's a tough one. God. I think my least favorite was the one that had, like, Trish fighting that other chick from Bayonetta. I don't even know who that lady's name was. I wasn't a big fan of that because I like Trish. But I think my favorite was... I'm having a hard time remembering what it was, but it was Sora. He was fighting somebody, and then at the end they decided to team up. I may be wrong on that, but I would say those are probably the two that stand out the most. It's been a while since I've even seen any of those type of videos. Next question comes from J-Bat. You want to know, am I going to get the Resident Evil 2 Remake Collector's Edition? Hell no. I'm sorry. $200 is way above. I've only spent that amount of money for one collector's edition, and it's right over there, and I said I'm not doing that. My limit is like no higher than usually 150. If they dropped it down to 150, I might consider getting it. And I think it's stupid that you can only get it at GameStop, since I usually buy all my collector's editions off of Amazon. But no, I am planning on getting the deluxe edition of Resident Evil 2, but collector's edition, no, that's just way too expensive. Even despite the fact that it has like a really cool Leon figure, which I would love to own, but just not worth $200. Next question comes from Will Williams. You want to know, of all the Resident Evil games I have played, how would I rank them from worst to best? Worst to best. Okay. The original 3. Don't matter, they're unplayable. Can't play them, so even though I acknowledge that Resident Evil 2 is a fantastic, phenomenal game, the controls are complete shit, which makes it unplayable. So I never actually finished any of those games, so it would be those at the bottom. Then I would probably place, from those I've played, then I would probably pick maybe the Umbrella Chronicles, and then the Dark Side Chronicles, and then Revelations 2, then Revelations 1. Well, no, I take that back. I would put Revelations 2, then I would put Resident Evil 5, then I would put Revelations 1, then I would put RE6, and then I would put Resident Evil 4 at the top as my favorite. In that order. So that's kind of just off the top of my head how I would rank them. And the last question of the episode comes from Mr. Abel Z, and you want to know, do I play puzzle games? Yes, I do play puzzle games. I play strategy games. I play a whole bunch of games that some of you might be surprising. I'm pretty good at Tetris, and there's even a number of puzzle games that I play on my phone here. But yes, I do play some puzzle games. And with that, those are all the questions that you guys have sent me over the past week. I'd like to thank all of you guys for sending in your questions. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them into me for next Wednesday, hopefully around noon before I start recording the next episode. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.